to the Chronic Health Collective show. This isn't just a community, it is a fresh start. We've gathered the best coaches and experts to help you reclaim your energy, heal from the inside out, and live with purpose. Whether you're longing for more energy, deep healing in your relationships, or a life that feels more aligned and fulfilling, you are not alone anymore. Hello, welcome. I am Dawn Omalza and I am your host for today. So I'm very excited to introduce this new project that I've been working on for quite a bit now. And I've been kind of hesitant because I'm like, oh, people are going to think I'm crazy for really niching down and identifying a specific group that I really, really want to help. So this is an open invitation calling out to all Capricorn women who were born in the year of 1974. So the specifics of this group is if you are a woman who was born from December 22nd, 1973, through January 1974, this is the group that I want to connect with. And through my spiritual journey, one of the first things that ever got me interested in it was, as a teenager, was always looking at my astrology. So I was always studying astrology, always studying numerology. And so, there's things that I would always read, or there's like stereotypes that I would always read about Capricorns that really resonated with me. And it helped me just to be able to identify with something or give me some explanations of why I behave that way. But of course, as I've experienced many different things and learned new things about myself, that is not quite so true. However, I still think near and dear that with the astrology and the numerology forecast, there are some things that we really can connect with as women that's born in that era. So if you are a woman who carried the weight of the world before anyone asked if you wanted to, you were always the dependable ones, the organizers and the quick fixers. You've held many jobs, you supported your family, and you built entire systems that just really exemplified your sheer willpower of how to, be the core foundation for everyone else. But lately, so like for me, we're in a period what we call the Chiron period or the Chiron return. And that's what Chiron return is. There's a certain period where we have life cycles of 9 years of life cycles where we go through different transitions. So we're at the end of our 9 year cycle. And so most of us are in that mid age range. So I'm 51. And so most of us, I would think, that we are starting to kind of feel like, well, there's something feeling a little off, and we're starting to dig deeper or feel like we want to define new things about our strengths and get away from the stereotypes that we've been so accustomed to. And so in this cosmic chapter, we're going to walk through together our Chiron return and how all those health scares, emotional shifts, and awakenings aren't random. They're actually invitations for realignment. And I've spoken about this quite a bit, or I mentioned it in our previous podcast about realignments and being able to, do our shifts in and changing our definitions of who we identify or who we have identified with. So Capricorn energy is ruled by Saturn, and the planet of the structure, time, and the mastery. We came in with an instinct. An instinction, or our instincts, is to build, to endure, to get things done right, and the world rewarded that. But along the way, we absorbed a few heavy stereotypes, which is perfectionists. We were identified as workaholics. The one thing that really hits hard for me is being emotionally detached or we're too serious. And so the deeper truth in these labels is that every label that once limited us was actually a distorted reflection of our gift. And what the world called control was our devotion for stability. And what they saw as emotional distance was our sacred boundaries and keeping us safe. And what others would call rigidity, which I can totally relate to, not going to deny that one, but what they called rigidity was our deep need for integrity. But after 50 years of being the backbone, the universe is now whispering to us, it's safe to soften up now. We don't have to be that strong, bold, hardcore, individual that's always carrying the weight of others. So this is the essence of the Chiron return. And when the wounded healer inside of us saying, you don't have to earn your worth anymore, that's when we need to just sit still. And this is our time to realign and redefine our purpose and come into alignment of who we want to be. I think one of the misconceptions that even if they think that we're workhorses, when we play hard. And the reason why I would say for myself, one of the reasons why I work so hard is because I don't want to work. I actually want to play. I don't want to be that person who works for 65 years and then decides to take a vacation, right? I want to be taking a vacation every single day when I want it. And so I know there's been many topics and conversations about financial freedom, but really I think at the end of the day what we're all trying to achieve when it comes to freedom is time freedom, to have that liberty to use our time and choose it into doing things that we want to do when we want to do it. All right, so that's the whole Chiron return. And so now, I'm going to talk about a little bit of my journey and how I'm going to be helping the community with resources that I've learned, and how this program is going to work. So my own initiation began through my body. And so I've shared this before, but a few years ago, when I started to do my doctorate of natural medicine, one of the modalities that I had learned was called the quantum evaluation, which is a series of questions that reads energetic frequencies to identify any imbalances in the organs. And for me, it showed an imbalance in two of my major organs, which was the large intestine and my stomach. So like many of us, we get these results and we kind of shrug it off. We don't really take it for granted because number one, it was an alternative modality, right? It's not something that was coming from my doctor. So there was still that little hesitation and limiting belief in whether or not these surveys or bioresonance tools really work for you. But later, then I was introduced to what this thing called bioresonance hair testing, where you take hair follicles from your head and you send it over to the lab. And in that, it also showed that there was some red flags that I needed to address with my physician in the same areas. So eventually, I went to the doctor, and the doctors found a benign gist tumor, right? So in that moment, I realized that my body had been whispering long before science had caught up, right? So there were many different things that has been telling me that that I needed to really take a look at my physical health, but I didn't. But eventually, it all caught up, and so I started to do more research. And one of the other things I love to study and read about is traditional Chinese medicine. And with that, they really focus also on the organs and how the organs correspond to certain emotions, because when our emotions or our experiences create emotional engrams into our bodies, which causes distress or diseases. And so for me, in those particular areas, the large intestine and the stomach, it was associated to the emotion of disgust and worry. And to give you some backstory, in during that time, or couple years prior to that and up until my diagnosis, there was many periods in my life that I felt very disappointed in myself. And that again is that belief that of how Capricorns are supposed to be. So unfortunately, there was a lot of worrying that I was doing because and a lot of disgust with the way my life was going, because I feel like I had made decisions that wasn't in my best interest. But when I go back and look at it, I don't regret the journey at all, because there were many lessons I needed to learn to get to the point that I'm at. So I don't regret it now. But as I was disgusted with where my life had gone and worried about everything I couldn't control, and so what happens is that I was just burying myself in productivity. I kept a calm face, but inside I was screaming for honesty and just letting the truth out of what I was experiencing. So that's the Capricorn paradox. We look composed while quietly crumbling. And I think that's something that we've all been just experiencing all our lives. And so the healing began when I stopped asking, like, what was wrong with me? And I started to ask, what was I not feeling inside myself that I needed to address and become aware of and let go? So that question took me to deeper studying, and I started to look more into like what people would refer to as metaphysics. So the energetic layer beneath the physical. And so I did some practicing with Dr. Randall Robert, and he has this modality called creative emotional wizardry, a modality that uses muscle testing to speak to the body's subconscious. I learned that sometimes fatigue isn't from overwork, it's actually from energy leaks. And pain isn't always injury, it's actually emotions that's trying to move on or move out of our body. But for whatever reason, it gets suppressed in there. And so those metaphors we tossed around, I think most people would be able to relate to the energy vampire. That would be part of the metaphysical world, or a knife in the back. So if you're like feeling pain, there may be like something that happened where someone was jealous of you and created some kind of infliction like that, or veil over the eyes, or broken heart. So they're just not saying things. These are energetic imprints. And so the body translates emotion into sensation, right? And so when I released the resentment through his work, I literally felt so different. Like within minutes of having him clear certain things from my energetic that was blocking my energy, I really felt like I was standing taller and I was walking lighter, and it was just very enlightening. And that very evening, I went home and practiced with someone that I knew, and they themselves had a really great experience the next day, of things that was energetically blocking them. And it was one of the stories I shared in my previous podcast. But um, yeah, so metaphors, the metaphysics. So when I cleared my own grief too, I also felt like I could breathe again, and I also started sleeping better, because I was one of those people who didn't sleep at all. I was awake, wee hours to the next morning, because I was either worrying about things, or I felt like I needed to learn more things about this kind of stuff so that I could to work on my own healing. So, there is a book that's called The Body Doesn't Lie, and that's true. The body does not lie, and it speaks in vibration. And so, yeah, that's kind of where I am at. That's my quantum evaluation journey, and just the story of my mirror of where where I was getting. And so, um, in the next segment, I'm going to um, deep dive a little bit more about the collective wounds of the Capricorn woman, and I'll see you in the next segment.
Everything we're made of contains light. From the sun that feeds our world to the energy that flows within us. With LifeWave X39, we've found a way to put that light to work. With X39, we achieved something remarkable in the field of wellness and science that others could not. By utilizing LifeWave's unique patented technology, X39 uses light to elevate GHK-Cu, a copper peptide known to support overall health and wellness. Unlike traditional light therapy, X39 uses the body's own infrared light to naturally increase vitality. By gently stimulating the skin with light, our non-invasive, non-transdermal X39 patches help you conquer your active lifestyle and pave a new way to vibrant health. Becoming a powerhouse is easier than you think. It all starts with your body and a little help from light. Place one LifeWave X39 patch on the body. Apply the patch to clean, dry skin in the morning. Patches may be worn for up to 12 hours before discarding. Keep well hydrated while using this product. Harness your natural potential. Reclaim youthful energy. Live long, live well, live young with LifeWave X39. Be the light. LifeWave.
If you were born between December 22nd, 1973 and January 19, 1974, this message is for you.
You're entering one of the most powerful energetic windows of your lifetime, your Chiron Return. The Chiron Return is a cycle where the wounds we've carried for decades rise to become our greatest wisdom. 2026 is your year of preparation, a time to release what no longer resonates, rebuild your energetic foundation, and realign with your truth. Because in 2027, everything changes.
I'm Dawn, and I'm just like you. I've lived the perfectionism, the control, and been accused of being emotionally detached. And I've learned that they were never flaws, they were survival codes. Now they're being rewritten. We'll use tools like quantum evaluation, creative emotional wizardry, and principles of parallel realities to help you shift timelines, from exhaustion to embodiment, from structure to sovereignty. 2026 is a year of preparation, and 2027 is the year that everything changes. And you, the Capricorn women born in 1974, are the architects of that new era. I'll see you in my Zen Heart community as we realign, recalibrate, and get ready for what's unfolding.
All right, welcome back to segment 2. So again, this is an invitation for Capricorn women born in the year of 1974. And again, this is the Chiron return. And so again, Chiron, the wounded healer, represents the place in us that once hurt, but when heated, became our gift to the world. And this generation of Capricorn women were steady, loyal, strong, and is being asked to release perfectionism, to soften, and to redefine success on your own terms. And so let's zoom out to the collective pattern that we share. Um, Capricorn women came here to heal wounds of over responsibility, and we become everyone's stabilizer, partners, um, parents, workplaces, but constant stability without self-expression breeds the fatigue, the cynicism, and emotional detachment. And one of the things that I really honed in on the next book that I am working on that should be released next year, 2026, is the whole topic of self-betrayal. So, but many of us, we hit that wall around our late 40s. We are burnt out. We have health scares. We have career disillusionments, and I've been sharing that quite a bit here through the Chronic Health Collective regarding that. And then also relationships, right? And how we define what kind of relationships that we value and which ones that serves us. So um, through those experiences, sometimes we we are hard on ourselves, really hard on ourselves. And we have to remember that it's not failure. When we're looking at astrological signs again, that's the Saturn movement handing back the blueprint to say that it's time for us to redesign the structure that we were living. So this is why I created this new project to help women like us to rewrite those old definitions of success. And I think that's really one of the important things about this is how we have been defining what success is. And I hear that a lot, even just other people, that it doesn't matter what astrological sign that you are. It's, being able to stand in your own space, and even if someone else is telling you this is how success should look like for you, to be able to just stand there, listen to what they have to say, and not let that impact you, because no one can know what success is like for you but you. But it takes a lot of us a long time to get to the point where we even know that we have that option and that it's okay to have our own definitions of that. And I think one of the things, like for me, that I had to learn is that success wasn't always attached to status in your career, or how much money, I was making, or what kind of house I lived in, or what kind of car. Those are just materialistic things. Now I'm more focused on the success of how I'm living my life every single day, how I am taking the gifts that I've been given, and how I am sharing that, or am I sharing that with others who need to hear it. And the other thing is that also knowing that when I'm sharing it with other people, it's up to them whether or not they want to take it, or how they take the information and how they apply it to their own lives. I think sometimes we do those things, or we go through the process and we're like, oh, they're not following it the way that I taught them. I must have not done it well, and then you criticize yourself. But no, our job is really just to share the information, and everyone has their free will to do what they do with it or not do with it. And that's part of the definitions of success. So yeah, so that's part of it. And because we also don't one of the things I also want to make sure is that we also don't need another self-improvement plan, and that's not what this is. What we need is a self-permission plan, constantly giving us ourselves that permission to pivot, to go any direction that we want, and so forth. So one of the other mentors that I've had, which is a really bizarre one, but I came across him on YouTube one day, and his name is Bashar, but actually this guy's name is actually Daryl Anka, and he is what we call a channeler. So he, changes his. He goes into this deep meditation, and he claims that he is able to connect with, in a being that's not part of our realm, and so they've given him the name of Bashar. So whether or not his claim of being able to channel to a higher being is correct or not, the information that he was sharing really resonated with me and helped me have a better perspective on how I approach things and how I define things. So a little bit off the rockers on this one, but but I still love his content regardless, So anyway, so redefinition and parallel realities. So during my study of reading and looking and watching all of his videos, he says nothing matters, and I'm like, what do you mean nothing matters? And that used to sound really cold to me, but until I finally understood what that meant. And what it means is that everything is neutral until we give it definition. And so when we have all these different modalities where we're trying to achieve peace. Hello, I'm repeating myself here. But when we're trying to achieve peace, really it really is nothing, right? We're just in the presence of observing everything that's going around and not having any emotion or reaction towards it. And that's what it means, that nothing matters and everything is neutral. When we start to give it definitions, that's where we start to hit play button on the movie projector, and that's how we start to manifest and start to see our lives in the way that we are giving it that definition. So the meaning you assign becomes the vibration that we emit, and the vibration determines the reality of the experience. So kind of woo-woo, but so when I define my diagnosis as a tragedy, I created fear. But when I defined it as a transformation, I created it as an alignment. So same event, different timeline, right? And then Bashar also calls our healing tools as permission slips. So the quantum evaluation and the hair test and this creative emotional wizardry that I use, muscle testing, they all worked because I believe that it could. Just like every other modality that's out there that other people are trying to share with you all, it's only going to work because you believe that it does. And if it doesn't work for someone else, it's because the belief system isn't there as well. So the power wasn't so much in the tool, but it's in the belief that we have in it. So that's the invitation for every Capricorn woman here right now, to change your definition, and your world will rearrange itself. So in the realignment blueprint, we start, of course, with awareness, and your energetic story told through your organs, emotions, and your birth vibration. And then we move into doing the clearing. We'll use some sound healing, breath work, meditations, and muscle testing to release what's outdated. And then finally, we build and we're setting new energetic definitions for work, love, money, and your health. So you'll discover that, through this process, you'll discover that perfectionism isn't your enemy. It's unexpressed devotion asking for redirection. Emotional detachment isn't coldness. It's your nervous system begging for safety. And then control isn't arrogance. It's your intuition without trust. And so together we are going to interpret these traits as power in the right relationship. And that's what real alignment feels like. So if you're hearing this and thinking, that's me, trust the recognition, is resonance, and you've been preparing for this realignment your entire life. And I'm really looking forward to working with many of you on this. So let's see, let me continue on. So how would it feel like to be standing as the threshold in the next version of yourself? That's gotta feel a little bit exciting to know that there is something out there for you to shift and have a new experience, especially in these times of our lives where we are at 50, right? And with everyone now having a much longer lifespan, before 50 was just like, oh, retirement, and then retirement life, and I'm not so sure after that. But really, 50 is like a rebirth, because we are going to be living longer because we have more things to help us stay healthy. But what are we going to do with ourselves in that time? What are we going to do for the next 20, 30, even 40 to 50 years? It's like a whole new lifetime to live. And that's pretty exciting, because I didn't do it so well the first half. So I'm looking forward to doing it much, much better on the second half. So remember that nothing matters, and that's the freedom. So because nothing matters, everything can. And when I was looking at the numerology for 2026, it really is a year of preparation. And so there's so many things that we need to just release and let go, and then start to come into our own new being. Because what the forecast is hinting to is that in 2027 we are going to be experiencing a really major shift and change in everything that we know. And I think for us, for people in our realm where we are spiritually aligned, and we've been doing a lot of research in this area, I think there's going to be a lot of other people who are going to be questioning a lot of what they learned, and they're going to be wondering and questioning their whole purpose in life. And so that's why I want to help Capricorns, because we are the trailblazers and we're going to be the educators for this movement. Let's see. So yes, so 2027 is going to be a doorway to a new timeline. And we are all going to be aware that choice is creation. And the shift begins the moment that we say, I choose the version of me who is already whole. And we're going to be thanking ourselves for walking in this new journey. And so I'm really looking forward to this project here. Let's see. I have more to cover, but I lost my notes. Let's see where I'm at. I got a couple more minutes. Okay. Let's see. This whole Capricorn project, it stemmed from other projects that I had started, but it didn't feel like alignment to me. It is incorporated in this program, but it just didn't all come together. One of the things that I share with the audience is that you're in this program, you're going to get a guidebook for 2026, and it's going to be very detailed, where whatever your birth date is for that period from December to January, you'll know what your numerology numbers are. You'll get the definitions of what your life path is, and it'll give you some indication of what kind of themes you can be expecting, and it may resonate with you or it may not, but it is a guide for you to help you navigate and prepare, have that preparation for 2026. It's not just another journal. It also gives you what I call the truth notes, which it tells you like what is true for me today, and then it walks you through this process. And I don't like lengthy processes, and I think most Capricorns, they like just direct to the point kind of stuff, and so I really took that into consideration when I created the guidebook. But it's really it's it's really good. I am really proud of this work that I put together. But it's yeah, it's different from your guidebooks and journals that's out there. It's not just a bunch of props that's repeated over and over again. And it's really honed into what your life path is, what the definitions of that are based on numerology and the history of that, as well as the themes for the year. So I'm looking forward to that.
Why do 98% of beauty enthusiasts rave about coolness? It's all in the blend of ancient wisdom and modern science. Introducing Coolness, Pearlescent Face and Eye Serum Cream. This powerhouse combines the antioxidative power of schisandra berries, the glow of pearl powder, and the hydrating wonders of dragon's blood extract. It's like a time machine for your skin, making it radiant, firm, and oh so smooth. Inspired by ancient Chinese traditions and backed by modern nutritional science, this serum cream is perfect for dry, mature, and aging skin. It's time to unlock your inner glow with Coolness. Treat your skin to the best of both worlds today.
If you were born between December 22nd, 1973 and January 19, 1974, this message is for you.
You're entering one of the most powerful energetic windows of your lifetime, your Chiron Return. The Chiron Return is a cycle where the wounds we've carried for decades rise to become our greatest wisdom. 2026 is your year of preparation, a time to release what no longer resonates, rebuild your energetic foundation, and realign with your truth. Because in 2027, everything changes.
I'm Dawn, and I'm just like you. I've lived the perfectionism, the control, and been accused of being emotionally detached. And I've learned that they were never flaws, they were survival codes. Now they're being rewritten. We'll use tools like quantum evaluation, creative emotional wizardry, and principles of parallel realities to help you shift timelines, from exhaustion to embodiment, from structure to sovereignty. 2026 is a year of preparation, and 2027 is a year that everything changes. And you, the Capricorn women born in 1974, are the architects of that new era. I'll see you in my Zen Heart community as we realign, recalibrate, and get ready for what's unfolding.
Welcome back to segment 3. Hey, Nena, long time no see.
I know. I'm glad to be here.
So I know I've been rambling, but you have any questions for me?
Well, I mean, I am an Aries, so I know you mentioned that you're a Capricorn. Um, how does my sign relate to like how my life path is?
Oh, you're an Aries. But you what? Oh, do you want to share the year?
Well, I'm not. I think a lot of people are not 55. So we were born in 1970.
Okay, okay. Um. Oh my gosh, Aries. Let's see. You folks are very different cosmically from Capricorns, that's for sure. And the dynamics, so like Capricorns are like, are workaholics, but so are Aries. They work hard, but they also, how would I say it? I don't know how to explain it because my partner is an Aries.
So is mine.
So yeah, it's more about you. So you're very charismatic, which I'm going to agree to that too. So Aries are usually more charismatic people. Like they're just, without even having to ask them, they're the folks that is in the forefront of everyone else. Like you don't even without even trying, you grab the attention of other people. Would you say that is kind of a little accurate? I think you're
That's
a little more
interesting.
introverted, but
I'm
without even
definitely
trying to
very
show it
introverted,
to you.
but no one has ever said that I am charismatic in any way. So I know you're the first person.
Yeah, because I think it's like without even trying, right? I think Aries people, they're out there. I don't know how to explain it because because a lot of Aries people like that, but they're very intelligent and smart, and they're go getters. It's like when they decide on a goal and when they do stuff, it's the intention to you're gonna win at it. No, like no matter what the cost is, like you're just natural winners. You just are. So that,
Okay.
yeah, she was like, no, that's not me at all. I know
I
you're
think
you're
I lose
like
all
more.
the time.
Yeah. Or, it's like even the things that you do, Minna, you guys are always on camera. Not a lot of people are willing to be able to even do that, and like even when you do your cooking shows, like come on, that's being out there. So to you, you don't feel like it's what how I'm explaining as charismatic, but it is. And when you talk, people listen. You don't
Okay.
you
It's
think they
good to
don't,
know.
but they do. I think the downsides with maybe with Aries is, from what I read, is like the validation, right? So it's the lack of self-worth, but I think we all are kind of like that as well. So maybe that's why you're like, oh no, I'm humble. I'm not doing anything to seek attention.
Well, I mean, we do shows, so we do want the attention.
Yeah, but it's for the business, right? But as an individual, you're not trying to seek attention towards yourself. You're seeking attention for the business.
Right. So I guess the question is, we do a lot of things, right? We have a job, we run the business, we run two shows, and then everything else around our lives. Um, how do I know if I'm in alignment with myself or not? There's so many different things in my life. How do I know if this is in my alignment? This is not.
When you procrastinate, if it's like if you feel you're procrastinating, it could be burnout. You're just tired. But one of the things that, and you should watch this guy Bashar, and he has just this four. Have you ever watched him? You heard of Bashar?
No, I haven't.
So it's really weird. I know he channels this alien, but the concepts really resonates for me because it helped me focus. And then that's the one thing that I lack. But the first part of his formula is that act upon things that excite you, because if it really excites you when you think about it, time doesn't exist, right? So you don't have to force yourself to do something. You're just going to get it done, like, so you continue to do things that excite you until you can no longer do it anymore. And I think one of the things that we all struggle with is like we feel like, okay, I've chosen a path and I've committed to it, but at some point you hit a wall. And a lot of times our beliefs or what society teaches us is that, oh, you're just burned out, you hit a wall, you need a break, you need a vacation, just take some time out and then go back to it. But what we forget is that we're constantly evolving as human beings, constantly, right? That's just the nature of this, our existence. And everything is always evolving, including the plants, right? So if you hit that wall, it's because you probably got all you can out of that one project, and it's time to get out of your comfort zone again to learn something new because you need to evolve, you know? So does that make sense at all?
I think it does. And there's actually something that you say that's very intriguing to me. And I don't know if you want to talk about it or not. Let's go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
You mentioned aliens, right? So I think that there are aliens amongst us, and we just don't know that they are aliens. I know somebody might just say you're on crack. Okay, so I'm on crack. Right. So I assume that they are aliens and amongst us. They're not like human beings, right? But do they evolve the same way that we do? Do they mingle with us like naturally?
From what I've been studying and what I've seen, they are. But what they have explained is that because they're in a vibration, they cannot really directly be like amongst us, So I know there's like talks about people being hybrids and stuff like that. There are some, but not a whole lot of people who are hybrids. But that's why when we learn things like meditation and they talk about the different levels of getting to certain things, and when people get to a certain level of meditation, they can witness different things. And that's the same thing. It's like they're on a different frequency, so that they cannot really be directly with us because it would hurt us, because we're not programmed to be able to communicate with them. So if they were to just like be in front of us, right? Or like me, I hate lizards. We talked about lizards before. Every time I see one, right, I freak out. And so if they were to just come into our existence and be right there, we're not used to it. So we would just have something in ourselves that would trigger such a fear that we would not be able to function anymore. And that's why it's a slow evolution of them introducing and integrating themselves to us. So they're trying. They do stuff to connect, like through the channeling, and it's just for us to get a little bit comfortable with just their existence. And the thing is, UFO aliens. Well, he gave an acronym the other day. I was tripping out because we associate UFO as unidentified,
Unidentified. Right.
and he identified it as unidentified fear. And I was like, that's right, because we've never seen it before. So then when we see something that's not familiar, we freak out. And that's fear. And that's the whole relationship. with that. So when I talk about 2027 being a time of change, we've already been seeing a lot more conversations about how the government is releasing this and all of, and people are coming out about their experiences. But I think they're going to start really, really showing themselves, so that we can become familiar. I think we're still going to be freakishly scared because in our minds we only know what we've seen in movies, so we're gonna think, oh my gosh, is this greasy gray thing giant bigger than us, or you know what I mean? But that's not may not even be it. It's yeah, very different. And I always say, there's this fear like, oh, they're going to come and destroy us and all of that, and it's like, if they wanted to, they would have done it already. They're just trying to make sure we don't ruin the resources that we have in this world on this earth.
So why 2027? Like, why aren't they already here?
I don't know why 2027, but it's the when I watched the Bashar channels and read his books, he's been doing this for years. He's been trying to teach people and introduce themselves to the human community for a while now. And but it's again, it had to be a very slow integration.
And how do we prepare for it? If it's going to be so scary that we don't know, it's a big unknown, right?
It is, yeah. Well, just like with anything that we have to deal with, where we have some fear-based belief, right? Is learning more about it and being open-minded about it, and seek for yourself the information about their existence, and not just rely on what you see in social media. Yeah.
So is there any relationship between your sign, me and Aries, you and Capricorn, and how we deal with fear? Because I feel like there are a lot of people that fear is like in the face. They can't accept it. They just be very fearful about fear, right? So for like me and you, we just face it. We deal with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it all depends on the situation, right? Because all of us have different upbringings, right? And then we have what we call different programming. And then it's also the own self-awareness of whether or not you want to continue your life still having that definition of not. So those people that just cannot deal with fear, because they have the definition that they don't have an option to deal with it in a different way, or to define it differently, right? Whereas, someone like you and me are like, I don't want to live my life being in fear all the time. Like, this is stupid. Like, let's just try, let's just try it, and then go from experience, and then you move on. But again, it's the upbringing and the environment that they're around, right? So the community and the things that you're exposed to all the time, again, that's the limiting belief. That's the limiting belief, that is the community or the environment. But it really is you got to get rid of that belief. And that only you can control what kind of experience you have in this lifetime, really.
So I know that you've been redefining yourself a little bit. And you've been talking a little bit about yourself. So why don't you tell our audience what kind of people you can help, or you're willing to help, and what you can do for them?
Yeah, I mean, with the thing, all the knowledge that I have, because I study a lot, and so for me in my practice, and that I've been trying to build and expand, is gotten really convoluted, because it was just there's just too many different various people that I can help, right? And so to me, it's like the audience was too big. It's just too big. And that's why I was like, no, I'm just going to focus this next year strictly on the Capricorn women that was born in 1974, because based on our astrology, we are going through this, we're ending our 9-year cycle. So there's a lot of things that, it would be beneficial for us to learn how to release and let go of all those things that no longer serve us, especially those limiting beliefs, so that we can prepare and have a more enlightened experience for the next 50 years.
That's awesome. So, Dawn, how can people get hold of you?
Through my website, newdawnholistichealth.com, or by my email, or find me on Instagram. And I'm probably going to rebrand and change all of that in 2026. But I will keep
So we'll be sure to have your new information when that happens.
Yeah.
So if today's episode speak to you, you don't have to do it alone. We have coaches like Dawn and Andy and a whole panel of coaches that can help you. All you have to do is book your free consult with one of our expert coaches at chronichealthcollective.com for personalized support. Subscribe to our monthly magazine, and you get expert tips from all 14 of our coaches to elevate your health, your mindset, and relationship. Catch us live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. CST. You can watch past episodes at e360tv.com and our YouTube channel at Chronic Health Collective. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you again next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.